Hi, I'm Al. Welcome to CiNEMACHiNE. This week we have our guest Chris back. How you doing, Chris?
Back again, doing great.
Wow.
Hey,
By
Chris.
wonderful demand by everyone, or you were forced to be here, whichever one you want to provide. So
Look at him in his fancy new headphones.
I know, right? Got in here. He
Now
got the
sponsored.
Both ears in.
he got the CiNEMACHiNE
Both of them?
special edition. We got Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing great, Al. How are you doing, Al?
Doing great.
Good. Good.
And Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey. Doing good. Thank you for asking.
Thanks, Brandon. Hey. Well, this week was pretty fun. We had 4 movies to choose from this week. And surprisingly, one of the original 3 still won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, you won.
Take
we
that,
get
Chris.
Well,
God.
ended Brandon's streak.
Yeah, well, hey, that's all that
Wasn't really a
matters. That's all that matters is that Brandon didn't win a third time. We can't have that. So before we get started, we want everybody to know that we do have you vote on movies so that you can kind of have a little bit of control over the show. So this week, Ryan did win, as we said, and we want you to know how you can get in touch with us. So Ryan, you want to tell them how they can get in touch with us, how they can vote, so on and so forth?
Yep. Easiest thing to do would be to drop down in the comments. Let us know what you think of the episode, things you like, you didn't like, what you vote on for next week's episode. And then also you can find us on Instagram at CiNEMACHiNEPod. We also want to invite you to hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of our goings on here on YouTube.
Click our buttons and our bells. So you want to make sure that you get all those notifications because we release about 600 videos a week. So you're going to love us. So it's going to be a good time. So
He's joking.
we get excited about stuff. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's like watching movies with your friends or getting news from your friends or whatever. But
That
the
is
best
true.
thing is most of them don't have to do with me. So you're good to go. So you're it's a good trade-off. Subscribe. You don't have to see Al. That's our deal. So, well, this week, as we said,
Just once a week.
yes, yeah, I'm like the sad toy in the bottom of a sad sack of cereal. So,
This week,
Al,
Okay,
come
you
on.
want to go ahead and plug your show this week?
oh, my show,
Yeah.
Criterion Corner, right there.
He plugs it every week. He can't stop wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
I told y'all, like, okay, this is the most comfortable sweatshirt, which you cannot get because we don't make it available to anyone else because we don't want it
You
to
should
get
feel
popular.
good about that. It's exclusive
Yep.
to you,
If it happens,
as it should be.
Al may have an interview this week, so keep an eye out. for that.
Maybe. Well, you know what? We'll see what happens. So, all right. So this week we did watch a movie that I believe we've all seen before, but we'll find out here in a minute. Ryan chose Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It is hard to believe this movie is over a decade old. It does not feel like it has been that long. But this movie was released August 13th, 2010, directed by the one and only Edgar Wright. Had a budget of $85 million. That's right, I said $85 million. And a box office of $47,664,559. Yeah. A bassist guitar for a garage rock band. Scott Pilgrim has never had trouble getting a girlfriend. Usually the problem is getting rid of them. But when Ramona Flowers skates into his heart, he finds she has the most troublesome baggage of all, an army of ex-boyfriends who will stop at nothing to eliminate him from her list of suitors.
Brandon, next time you prepare these show notes, you need to phase from the movie that we're supposed to be talking about and do a completely different movie's plot by the end of it and see if Al catches on as he's reading it.
Oh, I caught it one time.
That wasn't intentional, though.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I'm a slave to these notes. So, this movie stars Michael Cera, Kieran Culkin, Anna Kendrick, Allison Pill, Aubrey Plaza, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Jason Schwartzman, Johnny Simmons, Mark Webber, Ellen Wong, Chris Evans, Brie Larson, Brandon Routh, and Mae Whitman. All right, guys.
A lot of people.
Chris, I went with you first last week because you were the guest. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like, I'm
the still guest. A guest.
Yeah, well, kind of. You got a recurring role at this point. So I'm going to go to the winner this week.
There's no pay bump, so don't ask.
Yeah, you still get, yeah. But Ryan.
You got to return that mic and those headphones.
Want a new podcast.
I'm on the anti-CiNEMACHiNE. So, Ryan, when did you originally see this? Did you see it in theaters, so on and so forth? And what were your initial thoughts when you first saw it?
I don't remember. I don't think I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
Not many people did.
Not many people did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it is a great movie.
Calm down.
Hey, all right. I'm the winner.
All right, bye, everybody. Ryan told us what we thought.
Brandon, what do you think? No, this movie's just, we've talked about before on the show, comedies are in, there's not a good number of good comedies that come out these days. So this is one of those that actually fits the bill for me. Mm-hmm. Dialogue's awesome, and it's super fast paced and stylized, and it all meshes together really well. So we can break it down more, but suffice it to say, I did pick it, so I did like it.
How many shows have we done so far? Well, a good amount of shows. And I say initial like
review,
3 or 4, yeah. And then they go into the full review. I swear. Let's get it down pat. It's like
we're on episode 27.
Do you just want a good, bad?
Yeah, that was good. You're like maybe like a paragraph at most. So, it's okay. I love the passion. Brandon, what were your thoughts on this movie? How did you first see it? When did you first see it? Who did you first see it with?
I didn't see it in theaters.
Where?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I just saw it, bought it on Blu-ray, blind buy, I believe, because I like Edgar Wright, and somehow I guess I missed this theatrically and then just picked it up. Yeah, that's how I saw it at home.
Fancy.
And I love this movie. It's great. I love Edgar Wright. I said that earlier, but yeah, I love everything that he's put out.
He's filibustering now.
I don't think so. I'm not trying to. But yeah, like Ryan was saying, it's super. I mean, Edgar Wright's style is like quick cutting, fast paced, super witty British humor. Mm-hmm. However, this one is not a British movie. It is an American movie. Well, I guess it's a Canadian movie. But it feels like it's American because it's not British, and I can understand it. And yeah, I love this brand of humor, and it's a little kind of like Baby Driver is a little bit of a departure for Edgar Wright. This is that as well. And yeah, great cast, and it's a good time, and we'll get into it later. But yeah, 2 thumbs up from me.
Great. Chris, what did you think of this movie, and when did you first see it?
I don't want to go too long with this.
Yes.
I will scold you.
Yeah. Same,
Just wait until Al goes, and he's going to have an anecdote for when he was a kid and something.
When he met Edgar Wright. He babysat him or something.
Yeah.
No, I hate that you guys had me on like twice in a row for these 2 movies that I'm like, I love. I'm like the boring movie guy at this point.
You want to hate a movie?
We've got enough hate on this show for 3 people. All right.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted you to come back, because we quote this movie all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just, it's just a natural like movie to quote for us. So
yeah. So
for
the audience, Brandon, Chris, and I worked together at a company for a few years, and I would probably say this movie and probably Just Friends would be the 2 movies that we kind of like incessantly quoted while we worked there.
It was most of our conversations, which is quotes.
Yeah. Between "you don't know" and "bread makes you fat," or I don't know the meaning of the word. Like that, we just yeah, exactly.
But no, I do love this movie. I did not see it in theaters. It kind of came and went for me without really knowing what it was. We're getting too hyped. I remember like this was kind of peak Michael Cera time.
Yeah.
But he had kind of hit the scene right away with like Superbad and Juno. And then he had like 4 movies all after that were kind of like mediocre. So by the time this one came out, I wasn't like super hyped to go see it in theaters. I didn't know what Scott Pilgrim was. I wasn't familiar with the graphic novel. I had seen like some screenshots and people on like Reddit getting super excited like while it was in development, but I just saw Michael Cera with like a katana and I was like, I don't know what this is. Had no interest. So it wasn't until like a year after release that I finally saw it, and I have loved this movie since.
Awesome. I too did not see this in theaters. I think I accidentally saw this. Like somebody was like, "Hey, let's watch a movie," and just popped it on, and I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good." And like it was a rental or something like that. Like neither one of us had seen it, so I watched it that way. Enjoyed it, and I knew of Edgar Wright, and enjoyed his style, but I don't even know. Whenever I watched this movie, I knew it was Edgar Wright, to be honest with you. So, at first, when I saw his name pop up, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And Michael Cera, I like Michael Cera. For whatever reason, I always think Michael Cera is way older than he is. He seems like he'd be one of those guys that's like 40 something, but he can play 20. So, but he's not. So, anyway, so yeah, that's my initial review. It was probably the first year it was on Blu-ray. So that's probably when I saw it. So probably around 2010, 2011.
Seems like the takeaway from all of our reviews is that marketing really failed this movie. Because everybody's like, didn't really know it was coming out.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think they felt like they had a huge hit on their hands because they screened this. They did the premiere at Comic-Con the year that it came out. And it went over obviously that's the crowd it's made for. But then, yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, it just didn't. People, I guess like Chris was saying, just didn't know what this movie was.
Also kind of difficult to market. Like, it's a weird movie. It's great when you sit there and you watch it all, but try to explain this to someone like, oh no, the Bollywood fight scene. Like once you get there and then when they punch the hole through, like it's just so weird to try to explain or show in snippets. I could like almost get why they kind of failed at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you this. Have you guys ever met someone or spoken to someone that just did not care for this movie at all? Have you ever heard somebody that was just kind of acerbic in their tone?
Never.
Nope.
That's what's kind of funny about this movie. I've met a couple people. I run with a different circle, but I've met I've met a couple people that. But we'll get into that. I just wanted to see if you guys had ever fallen into that. So, well, let's talk about the characters here. Of course, we have Scott Pilgrim himself. We all talked about how much. Well, Chris and I talked about how much we like Michael Cera. So, I mean, Brandon also. But Ryan, were you familiar with Michael Cera before you watched this, or?
When did what years did Arrested Development come out?
It was before this. I watched Arrested Development before I saw this.
Yeah, I guess I remember Superbad. I watched Arrested Development after this though. But yeah, so I was familiar with him, but this was definitely one of the first movies that I'd seen him in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I was familiar with. After, I don't think I watched Arrested Development until after it had kind of, been a thing. And it was probably honestly after this that I watched Arrested Development. But yeah, so big Superbad fan. And so like, even those like smaller, like indie-ish type movies that he did that kind of came and went, I kind of jumped on that Michael Cera hype train. It seemed like there was a bit that's kind of where the rise. where the rise of Jesse Eisenberg came from, because he was like a poor man's Michael Cera at the time.
Yeah, he was.
And then it seemed like they kind of, did a little yin and yang thing.
Yeah, and Michael Cera actually and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but Michael Cera actually has a few movies that are, I would say, underrated. But he's still working like crazy. So I mean, he's still out there. So it's funny how that flipped, though. Juno happened, and that kind of, I
Still
think,
my favorite character, and this is the end.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
Do you guys remember a few years ago the Matt Ryan like Delta or something commercial came out? He's like, he gets on a flight and some kid that kind of looks like Michael Cera sits down next to him and is like taking everything off of him and like putting it on eBay. And like by the end of the flight, he like gets off the plane and he's like has nothing on. He's like, "Have you seen a shirt?" And then like it just ends. It talks about like eBay or Delta or something like that or some partnership. My buddy was the Michael Cera lookalike. And he told me like when he went to the casting, they specifically said like, "We are looking for a Michael Cera type," and he just like is Michael Cera type.
That's great.
that's pretty cool.
Is it Jesse Eisenberg? Oh,
Lex Luthor.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, what's
Chris,
funny?
Chris is an Oscar is an Oscar winning movie.
He doesn't
We
like
should
to
mention
tout
it.
that, but
Yeah.
he is
There's
in an
like-
Oscar-nominated movie.
I'm looking for awards here, guys. I'm on an Oscar-worthy podcast right now.
It's Black Panther, just so everybody, in case anybody's curious now.
Yeah.
Well,
Secret Agent number 3.
That was me. You can pause and find me.
Clerk number 6. Yeah.
spoilers, guys. I don't want to ruin it for you, but Michael Cera is in the newest season of Twin Peaks.
Well, I'll be surprised when I watch it.
I'll be surprised when you watch it too.
Me too.
As I've told you all the good stuff about. Anyway, all right. So now we have Kieran Culkin, which is, I think, one of the funniest characters in the whole movie. I like Kieran Culkin. Period. A lot of people.
Which is why you need to watch Succession.
It's
I think
so
we've pushed
good.
that on you before.
God, it's so
You
good.
gotta watch it. It's good.
Chris, have you seen that?
I have, but I was just discussing with my buddy. I am behind. I didn't even know it, so I got something new to watch.
It's amazing. Oh, it's so good.
I'll put it on my list. I have to finish.
Hey,
all
I'm
this.
watching like 7 seasons of Sopranos. You can watch 2
That's right.
seasons.
I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. What I'm saying is I've got to finish Twin Peaks. I am.
I'm surprised you haven't yet, as much as you've been talking about
my
it.
good God, it is about like 100 and something hours worth of stuff. So it's a lot. It's like watching 7 seasons of Sopranos, and I'm trying to do it all in like a few weeks. All right. So Kieran Culkin, the roommate, he's very quirky and snarky. I like how he at the beginning, Anna Kendrick comes in with her date or whatever, and he ends up stealing her date away and stuff. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I like how he tells Scott he's got to move out in a roundabout way. So
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
You like anything else that he says?
Well, I think he's my favorite character in the movie. I really do enjoy Kieran Culkin. He's a good actor.
You should watch Succession.
Is that a show?
Oh yeah. You should watch Succession.
Oh, I should watch that. I've heard.
Hey,
I've
I'm
heard
watching
things.
7 seasons of Sopranos.
But guys, I'm in the middle of Twin Peaks.
Insert Matrix cat gif.
Twin Peaks is a long show, and there's 2 movies in the middle. All right. So, Anna Kendrick was. Does she age? I don't think she ages. She still looks like a 17-year-old
yes.
girl.
She still looks sick.
she wasn't a vampire movie.
Oh, that's right.
Ah.
She was. She was hazed into Hollywood by having 2 holes poked into her neck. Yeah. And you have
Not confirmed.
now Aubrey Plaza. I think we all know. I'm a big Aubrey Plaza fan. I think she's fantastic. I think she's she is
Cute.
just,
You think she's cute?
I think she's cute, but I think she's spicy. She is like just so angry all the time. And I've heard her.
Speaking of Aubrey Plaza, have you seen Succession?
Oh, is she in that too?
No.
No, but I should watch
But
that.
she's seen it, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. So
And you should too.
yeah. But
Streaming on HBO Max.
she can play the angry chick so well. It's almost like
I think
she's
she's just
typecast.
playing herself. Yeah.
She said that people like to ask her to be angry on demand. I saw her in an interview one time on Conan, and she said that people want her to be angry on demand, or mean on demand, I should say. And then Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and the whole time I watched this go around,
Huntress.
yeah, all I could think about was, 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't know why that's what pops out in my brain about her now, but I just imagine her in that
Don't
scene
spoil
in
it. Don't
10
spoil it.
Cloverfield Lane where I'm just kidding.
I just bought those movies, so I'm
Fantastic trailer for that too.
It was
Yes, Chris.
but I think Jason Schwartzman. I think, as the internet says, we need to talk about Jason Schwartzman. He doesn't age at all. He's like 75 years old and still looks like he's
In Rushmore.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. Like, dude, age a little, please. But he's ultimately the same character in most movies, but he gets me every time. I don't understand it. Do you guys have the same affinity for Schwartzman?
I like him.
Guitar press.
I don't dislike him. I enjoy him in everything that he's in. Speaking of, like, I'm not a Brie Larson fan, but I love her in this movie.
I agree.
Like, I think
This
this
is
is the
the
movie
only thing
this is the one she works in because
She's
she's
really
gotta
good
play
in
herself.
Room. She's really good in Room.
That's true. Yeah, I'll take that back.
And,
she is really good in.
Short Term 12, I think it's called. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, do you guys have a standout character? Chris, do you have a character that stands out to you other than Scott Pilgrim?
So my one takeaway, as I was kind of thinking of what makes this movie so great to me, on top of everything we all quickly kind of listed, is if I talked to anybody and they said any character from this movie is their favorite character, I would totally get it, because every character
Okay.
has so much character, personality, these awesome little lines that are throwaway but stick with you. So I don't know if I really have my one favorite character.
So you're an ensemble guy. That's fine.
I am. I mean, they're all just
It
so
is
well
hard
done
to
in
pick.
this.
It's
Everybody has
it's a
great
toughie.
moments. I don't know.
It's true. Like, going through this list, I looked at Chris Evans. I was like, he's awesome. Brie Larson, she's awesome. Brandon Routh, he's awesome.
Well, it's a who's who of superhero movies in this movie. So
Even Knives Chow has awesome moments in it to where
she's great.
she's
what
such a
else is
great
she
character.
in? I don't know who she is.
I'll be quieter. Young Neil. That's another he hasn't been in much, and that's because that should tell you something, because I'm calling him Young Neil, not Johnny Simmons, as I'm looking at the show notes. So,
He's been in other stuff. Yeah.
he's one of my faves for sure. But yeah, it's hard to pick. They're all good.
Yeah. He was in another Aubrey Plaza movie, The To-Do List.
I will say I love Tom Jane showing up in this movie.
Just randomly,
And, what's the other guy that's with him? What's his name? He was in Westworld.
don't tell him. Don't
What's
tell
his
him.
name?
Just let him figure it out. Don't tell him.
Does anybody know?
Everybody,
Look,
Tell
I'm
him
just
in the
that
comment
whole
section.
scene. I'm just watching Tom Jane.
Fun fact about him, though, Brandon, he was in the promotional video for Glock headquarters.
Our
Who
resident
was?
weapons expert.
But not Tom Jane.
But do you know his name?
I don't.
That was my uncle, Chris says. I know a lot of not actors. So,
I'm
Funny
not
those
gonna look
guys.
it up.
I know a lot of lookalikes.
He's got a name like Freddie Prinze Jr. He's got a 3-part name, but
Is it
Oh.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Ken Griffey Jr.
yes,
Griffey.
yes. Anyway,
Brandon, you want to tell us what this guy's name is?
I don't know it, and I'm not looking it up.
Let's just not know, man.
We're not gonna know. If you know what it is, drop it in the comments.
And
I'm not looking it
subscribe.
up.
I thought you were like getting at like a trivia thing there, trying to get us to answer. Like, I don't know.
No, I was asking if you knew what his name was because I couldn't think of it.
No idea.
I hear somebody's
I know
keyboard.
that. Yeah, Ryan's typing, but he was in Westworld, and he's been in a few things, but yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
but
Well,
that scene is
riveting.
great. And there's so many like there's so many like great. Well, obviously we've talked about this before with other movies that we've reviewed, but I love the band element, having that kind of background.
Why do you love it so much?
I love music. You know,
This is a
Love it.
prequel to Green Room.
Yeah. I think this movie just oozes style, and the cinematography is amazing. I was listening to a commentary today, actually, with Edgar Wright and Bill Pope, who's the
Clifton
cinematographer.
Collins Jr.
Clifton Collins.
Three
See, I
names.
told you it was a name.
Freddie
like that.
Prinze Jr. That's what I told you. See? I told you that.
Everybody can rest easy watching CiNEMACHiNE.
Yeah, I figured out why
Be
this
right
movie
back, guys.
looks. I figured out why this movie looks so cool and is so inventive, and it's because not only is it Edgar Wright, but it's
Colors.
also Bill Pope who did The Matrix.
Al's
And
favorite.
he did.
Gosh,
He
we
did,
just talked about this.
He did the Spider-Man movies, and he's
Al's
also
happy
done,
right now. Got to bring that crap up.
he's done a few. He's done a few other
I was
Edgar
like,
Wright
you know what?
movies.
Now that I think about it, this movie is kind of a turd.
Yeah, a little seafoam green came in. Look, man, those people have to take jobs. So the
Sure, yeah.
editing
that put him right there out there Front Street. You know,
Front Street,
the Matrix Street.
What?
Matrix.
Front Street. That's saying
Put him on Front
They
Street.
say that in Royston. There's a front and a back
That's all
street.
they got.
Yeah.
there's two streets. It's Main Street.
That's a saying.
To Brandon Duncan has coined the phrase.
We'll make
Hey
t-shirts.
Brandon, what was the farm joke that you told on Capecast the other day? I'm sure Al watched it, right?
Oh, shh. I don't
I
want to
think he
spoil
said
it.
something along the lines of, "Don't pull the cow out until it's ready."
Ready.
Yeah, it's a thing.
We'll be right back, guys.
You don't want to do that. Do not want to do that. Trust me. You don't pull it out.
Trust Brandon.
Brandon's like, I've seen things.
Learn that mistake the hard way.
Hey, and don't shake your baby. Don't do it.
Oh, don't.
All right.
Take the back.
They end up like Al. So,
Did you eat paint chips as a kid, Al?
lots.
Scott Pilgrim, good movie.
Yeah. Hey, it's on Front Street. So, I do want to talk about the editing style and like just Edgar Wright's style in general. I've seen so many videos out there now. I think all of us have editing backgrounds to some degree. And as I watch this movie now, 11 years later, 10 years later, I'm trying to look for the seams, and they're nearly impossible to find. So
What's cool because like they try to do as much as possible practically. Like
Oh, yeah.
a lot of the set changes, like when he goes to the bathroom, pees, then opens the door, and he's in the school with all the like they behind the scenes they're like moving stuff around, bringing in new sets, that kind of thing. So it's pretty impressive. You gotta
top
respect
draw. It's amazing how seamless this movie really is if you look at it, and how this movie, like we talked about it, I mean, I've said it a few times now, it is over a decade old, but it really hasn't aged poorly at all. You know, the CG and the $85 million budget went somewhere, and so I imagine this movie has made its money back over time, the cult status and whatnot. I would imagine that this movie has been re-released on Blu-ray at least 5 times already, like with special editions. There's been still case, so on and so forth. So, but as I watched this movie this go around, I sat there and I was like, oh, that's hard. I was going through the technique of how to do everything and whatnot. And I know they did all that, but there are still pieces where they have to just do a lot of really creative editing. So do you guys look at this movie differently now that in your professional careers and whatnot, you can, you can see kind of behind the curtain, so to speak? Do you look at the creativity of it differently, or do you just watch it and it's like, it's entertaining, that's it?
I mean, I'm always looking for stuff like that in whatever movie it is, but I'm not in that field, so it's not like I'm like, oh, like I know how they do. I mean, sometimes I can figure it out because I've watched enough documentaries and behind the scenes stuff. But
I mean, I know my Cape Cast graphics are pretty spectacular, but I can't say that I'm well versed in in this type of stuff.
Well, sorry, guys.
But you, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, I am an expert.
There we go.
And I approve. I mean, all the fades and cross swipes that I do, these are good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like them, I'm not an
like
expert at
speed
all,
ramping
but
and stuff
the
like
pace is just there, and it's because of the way it's done. So it's almost like a subconscious appreciation, I think.
Right.
Even if you're not thinking about it, just it's always moving, it's always going in like one direction, and it's just, I don't know. I've always been a real big fan of, Edgar Wright and his quick cuts and how they like go from one thing to another. And this just, to me, when I looked at it versus like one of my favorite films of his, Shaun of the Dead, it's just
great.
It's just like touched up that much more, and it's just like a little more polished, and yeah, it's fantastic.
So
It's like, it's so quick-witted too. Like the humor, there's so much stuff that's like layered in. Like you go back and you like pick up on, like today I was watching it, for instance, and I picked up on like young Neil after what's his name, Gideon gets like bust into like all the coins, like they all fall, and what's his name, what's the lead singer of the band, what's his name, Steven, he's like trying to pick up all the coins for himself, and young Neil picks up one and puts it in his mouth because he thinks it's a chocolate coin, I guess. And that's like something that I never noticed, and the hundreds of times that I've watched this movie, not hundreds, but you know what I'm saying.
It is almost
Just
a
little things
frustrating
like
movie to watch with people, because as you see it more and you pick up those little things, like you want everybody to like, okay, laugh at this part. This part's awesome. But
Yeah.
it's like there's so many of these like look away for an instant and you miss it in this movie. And like you said, you watch it again, and you pick up something new.
Yeah.
Well, another thing this movie has going for it, whoever the casting director was for this movie hit it out of the park, for crying out loud, because a lot of these people were unknown or just kind of getting their feet wet at the time. And now they're, the people that are on the up and up and seasoned folks that everybody looks to for entertainment now. So like I said earlier, a lot of them are in the Cape Cast type movies, and a lot of them.
We have our own type.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
I didn't say it was good. No, I'm just kidding. No, but a lot of people, a lot of them are in the big budget movies, is what I'm getting at. The big names, the people that are above the title. So, knocked it right out of the park. And like you said, Brie Larson, she was serviceable in this movie. She really was, the jerk. But it's funny how 10 years she looks the same, but she looks different. Like I don't know, her face looked almost totally different to me when I watched this last night. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that she was even in it for a second when she's first on the phone, Yeah. And it's just kind of like from
All their looks are kind of eccentric in this movie though too, so that probably contributes to
yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah. But so on that subject, the subject of the Cape Cast type movies, comic book movies, I know a lot of people were heartbroken when Edgar Wright didn't direct AntMan, right? That's the one he was supposed to direct, correct?
Correct.
So are you guys still disheartened that he didn't direct that, or are you okay with the way that went? After you watch this again, are you like, man, what could have been, or what's in your brain?
Anybody? I mean, I have things to say, but I'll let somebody else
Chris,
go.
let's talk to Chris for a second.
Oh, I'm going first.
Not you, Brandon. Chris.
Let me think of what Brandon would have said. Take that.
If on Front Street.
So on Front Street. I did like the Ant-Man movie. It was one I didn't think I would, but I thought it was a fun movie, kind of like Guardians. Like Marvel managed to do something cool out of something you wouldn't expect. But I mean, I think Edgar Wright would have just made probably one of the best things we would have in the MCU if he had done Ant-Man. Obviously, it's a bold statement, but I mean, I love the guy's work.
Do you think if Thor Ragnarok had been made before Ant-Man, that maybe Edgar Wright would have been able to stay in that seat?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Was
You know what right
Ragnarok,
now?
yeah.
You know what's happening right now?
You guys are just
guys are
synced up
like
right now.
the guys on CapeCast are like, what? Al knows all this stuff.
No, right now the CapeCast guys are like, can we talk about DC?
Brandon wants him for Flash.
I do want Edgar Wright for Flash. I have said that many times.
Okay. No.
Yeah. Well, see, I agree with Chris. I mean, I think that they just wouldn't have let him. That's the problem. They wouldn't have let him make the movie he wanted to make. They're too slave to their overarching story. That's why he ended up backing down. But I was actually speaking of, I was actually in the Hall H in Comic-Con when he debuted his test footage for Ant-Man, and I got to see what he was doing with Ant-Man. And
How was it?
some of that actually carried over to the movie. Peyton Reed actually took some of that stuff, but it would have been pretty special, I think. So
Simon Pegg is Ant-Man. Ryan.
no, I mean he cast Paul Rudd, so Paul Rudd was going to be Ant-Man.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Jokes. Ryan, do you have thoughts on this?
I really don't. So I'm not a
Good.
huge.
All right. So next
All
one.
right. That's actually okay. You can continue the show.
I was just throwing you guys a bone. I was trying to be a nice guy, but talk about that stuff because I know it's important. Blah blah blah. All right, so we do want to talk about the Cornetto trilogy here. Obviously, we're all very familiar with.
I thought we were talking about Scott Pilgrim.
We are, but we're talking about Edgar Wright in general here and his style. Edgar Wright, I would say Edgar Wright and Guy Ritchie probably have the two most distinct styles. Like if you see a movie, you're like, oh, that's a Guy Ritchie movie, and Edgar Wright movie, and people try to ape them all the time. A lot of people have aped Guy Ritchie, as we talked about on our The Gentleman review. Go back and watch that, and subscribe. Right, Ryan? Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Press that button.
There we go. Click it.
Tap it.
But I would say that,
Flick it.
and now Guy
Pull it.
Ritchie,
Bop it. Twist it.
stop it. So,
Got him.
but Guy Ritchie now is trying to do other things because people have kind of taken his style and it's become old hat now. So do you guys think that Edgar Wright, I mean, I know Edgar Wright is trying to do that. He did a little bit, he did some of this, but he watered it down kind of for Baby Driver to a certain degree. Do you think that he's going to go a different route and just become like a really good director? Or do you think he'll stay within his style, very stylized, or how do you think he'll grow as a director?
I mean, I think he's. I just see him evolving, continuing to evolve. I mean, I know he's got a movie coming out this year, Last Night in Soho, with what's the girl that's like the hot stuff right now with the Queen's Gambit? What's her name?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, she's in that, and that's like very little is known about it as far as what they've put out, but it seems. I mean, I've just seen like key art for it, and it just seems like it's going to be, more in line with what he's done before. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't see him just becoming like, whatever you were saying, like a generic.
I don't mean generic. I mean, is he going to become more of a, is he gonna be forced to a certain degree
Like
to
become to the studio model type director?
not so much that, just become, I don't want to say mature because that lessens what he does and says that what he does isn't mature. But what I'm trying to say is, do you think he's going to have to kind of maybe change his route with all of this, all of his direction, because so many people like I said, look up Edgar Wright editing techniques and filming techniques and stuff on YouTube. I mean, you'll see probably an endless list of tutorials on how to do it. So I'm just wondering if people are going to kind of grow tired of his style because so many people are trying to ape it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think so, because he does it the best. I mean, the other people that are aping it just fall short.
Also, feels just
I
kind of
agree.
like the quick cut that they're going after. It's not so much, what you're talking about before, like the layers and like just the pace of the humor and
I just think
quirks.
he's so meticulous. He's just one of those directors that is meticulous on every aspect of his films, whether it's the editing, the humor, the pace, the music, the soundtrack. Like, he's just so like in tune to what he wants, that whereas like other directors can try and mimic that, but they're just going to fall short because they're not obsessive like he is with his medium. That's just my opinion. I think he just succeeds because of those
Well,
reasons.
his writing is very, very stylized too. And back to Chris's point about Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, all of his movies have a lot of heart, and that's what I kind of harp on all the time. Is that I need to be able to connect to characters, have heart, not just boom boom pow pow, all that stuff. I have to have the story and be able to lock on. And his movies really have that, especially with the scene in Shaun of the Dead where Simon Pegg finds out his mom is a zombie, and it's like a real emotional scene, but it's still hilarious at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's this fine line of like, it's heart wrenching, but you're laughing the entire time. And I just find it that is the most unique thing about Edgar Wright, that he's able to write the emotional scenes and have you like pulling on your heartstrings, but at the same time, you're quoting it because it's hilarious to your
It's kind of
friends.
similar. You're talking about Ragnarok. It's kind of similar to the way Taika handles stuff, especially
Yeah, Taika's
with
right there.
something
Yeah,
like Jojo Rabbit.
yeah, exactly. Go back and watch our review on that. But I mean, I think all of his movies, and you guys fell right into my trap. This is what I wanted to get into. I think all of his movies have a very more writing, and like you were saying earlier, Brandon, they plan and do a lot of this in practical, all the, in-camera editing. So it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of everything involved. It's a lot of choreography, everything. And so he is, like you were saying earlier, I think Ryan said it, just meticulous with everything. And I think he starts that with pen to paper. And that's what I think is just absolutely brilliant about Edgar Wright. Now,
Sounds like somebody else I know that I won't speak his name because I don't want to trigger anyone. But,
Quentin
it's true.
Tarantino. Yeah. So,
I knew what I was going to say.
yeah, I said story. So, anyway, Ryan, we haven't talked to you in a while.
Zack Snyder joke.
Ryan, this movie, you said Katie loves this movie a lot.
Mm.
So
this is one of the rare movies that she always makes fun of me because I watch a movie and I immediately just absorb all kinds of movie quotes, and she's just not that way. But this is like the one movie that she is entirely that. Like, she probably knows more quotes from this movie than I do, honestly.
Do you get a lot of attack hugs?
Yeah. Attack hug.
well, I think this is a good movie if anybody's out there and they are on a date, they want to watch it.
If anybody's out there,
If
listen.
anybody's out there, period, one of you, please, this is a cry for help. No, if you're out there and you, if you're gonna have a date movie or whatever, I think this is a good date movie because you can kind of see if they're sentimental about certain things, if they have a good sense of humor, if they like action movies, if they like, it's got a little bit of everything in there. So,
If
and
they
then
don't like it, cut them loose.
That's right. I did that when a girl told me she didn't like Christmas Vacation. I was like, out. So
See ya, Jeff.
yeah, we broke up with Jeff.
He really hasn't been back on the show since then, has he?
It's so funny. You send these Zoom invites out, and Jeff is on there. You need to say, "Not you, Jeff."
Yeah. So, well, guys, is there anything else? I tell you what, I'm just gonna ask this last question. It's a silly question, but I like to know things like this. We all like to watch movies multiple times. I know a lot of people that do not like to do that. They cannot understand why we watch movies multiple times. But I'm gonna go around the horn and ask. Chris, I'll start with you. How many times do you think you've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Well, I'll say I didn't realize I was going to be on this week, so
Yeah.
I never rewatched it. But I am fully confident in speaking about it. Obviously, I showed up. I've
Yeah.
seen it at least 10 times, probably.
Okay.
We bullied Chris on
You watch it. You watch it once a year, apparently. So it's a Groundhog Day movie for you. Yeah, you just have to fit it into some holiday. Brandon, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, same, 10, 12. It's one of those
67.
movies like Edgar Wright. Like I started watching like in college during design school. I just had Hot Fuzz on all the time, and this is kind of one of those movies that after I discovered it, I just would play it while I'm working on stuff, and it just plays in the background because it's one of those movies that you can like follow. It's got a great soundtrack, so it's like it's awesome like working noise, so to speak, just to have on and listen to while you're working. So yeah, I mean, I've seen it at least a dozen for sure.
27 times, no big deal. Ryan, how about yourself?
Al's got a Scott Pilgrim tally on his wall.
It's just gonna come up like bling 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 bling, like points on the movie. So
I'd probably say 10 to 15. Yeah, I'd be in that range too.
10
Didn't
to
know it was a
15.
competition,
Definitely
guys.
a good number. Yeah.
Yeah,
probably
sorry,
like
Chris. I didn't mean to ask you
Brandon said
first.
12, right?
Come back to me again.
What did you say, Brandon? 12? Oh, yeah, at least 13, 14.
Yeah.
I meant to say, yeah, I've watched it far fewer times than you guys, but I still enjoy it. I don't know if I enjoyed as much as you guys, but I do enjoy it. It's a fun little movie, but I do find myself watching this to see
Who's your
how
favorite ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, girlfriend? I guess there's one girlfriend. Who's your favorite ex
In the movie.
out of the how many are there? 7?
Yeah. Well, oh, by the way, did you notice how stylized, like how clever they put all the numbers in the different scenes? Like when they're walking into the building, number 4 is above the door, like really big, but it's built into the
I think I
structure
have
of the
with,
building.
with some of them, but not all.
And then
of them.
like he's walking, like it looks, I don't know if it's train tracks or what, but there's like X's up there. I think it's like traffic lanes to say don't go in this lane, and there's 5 X's up there. Like signs just kind of flapping in the wind and
The
such.
real question is, Chris, Dragon Ball Z fan, does this movie, Brandon Routh's character, not make you
Oh, he
want
goes
to
Super
have a
Saiyan.
live action dude? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. All right. Go ahead, Al.
I
Continue.
think you guys just had telekinesis because I don't even know what you asked. I don't know what you answered because I was like, yeah, that's
Yes.
all I heard.
That's exactly what I needed.
Who is my favorite ex? I honestly don't know.
I'm gonna say Todd. I love Chris Evans' character, but Brandon Routh's that whole scene, the vegan
the
police.
baseline,
like,
too.
Actually, muchacho.
When they said he sent him to vegan camp, that was
the
pretty
soy
funny.
in this one. Yeah, that scene. I mean, as soon as they get to that concert, that whole crash at Demon Head, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. Oh no. Like,
Yeah.
I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the soundtrack. This is like, as far as like a music compilation, like actual music, not just like, you know, score. Like, it's got such a great soundtrack.
Do you like the Brie
And a
Larson
lot
version
of-
better?
No.
I've grown to love the metric version
Brandon,
more.
I
at
saw
this
him at
point.
concert. Right there.
But
So
What is
Weird.
what is the quote that he says? Like, it's at the end of the battle with Brandon Routh. He's like, "If I peed my pants, would you tell people I got wet in the rain?"
yeah, yeah. Well, something weird happened while I was watching this movie last night. So the music's on. It's the Brie
Did
Larson.
your ex-girlfriend show up?
yeah, and nobody had to fight her. So I'm sitting there watching. I have my phone next to me, and all of a sudden, the soundtrack starts playing on my phone. Like, I'm like, okay, this is a little too close to home. You stay out of my life, Apple. Okay, you stay out of my life. It was very strange. I was like, what's happening here? So it started. Not only did it started at the exact spot of the song in the movie. And
Oh,
it was
yeah?
the metric song, but it was the metric version of the song that
yeah.
Brie, I was like, this is very weird. So
You let it play though, right?
yeah, man. I jammed. So all right, guys. Anything else you want to say about Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
one
Yeah,
little
Brandon.
thing that
Chris has two.
Who thinks?
I just thought, I was listening to the commentary today, and I thought this was such a like Edgar Wright thing that he called
When
out.
Brandon says
like,
he's seen this 10 or 13 times, he only watched it 7 times before we said we had to watch it for this show. And then he watched it the rest of the times. It sounds like you watched it like 5 times for the show. Did you watch it once regular and then one with commentary?
No, I actually watched the commentary, or listened and watched with the commentary, and then I started it over at the end of the day, just the movie, just to have it on while I was working. But I didn't.
Then when he
finish
got home, he popped it in. And
Had it on the car. So, anyway, Brandon,
I just
what were you
there was
saying?
after right before they go to the, I guess it's the battle with the 2 Asian twins or whatever, the dragon whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have that little title card that says later, and
Yeah.
they cut to them
Yeah.
walking in up to the club. The only reason that they put later on there is because the guy that plays young Neil, they filmed this like months later, and his hair had gotten longer, and so they just put later just because his hair was longer.
Never would have noticed.
Like yeah, I mean, I never even thought that. I mean, I never even noticed that his hair was longer. But that's
Attention
Edgar
to
was like,
detail,
yeah,
nonetheless.
we just put later because his hair. There's obviously some time has passed because his hair is longer, so we just put that on there. So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Well, okay. Everybody else good?
yeah,
Okay. So, Ryan, being
Pregnant
that you
pauses, gotta love them.
being that you won this week, we'll ask you first. Would you buy, throw away, skip? What would you do for this movie?
buy it for sure.
Okay, you would buy it. And Chris?
Very rewatchable.
Okay.
Buy this
there you go.
movie and the soundtrack.
And the soundtrack.
On
Nope.
vinyl.
I have that.
Do you really?
I found it for $1 at Goodwill on the red pressed version.
Nice.
Quite a find.
Nice. There
If
you
you
go.
need to find a deal on something, Chris is your guy.
Yes, he is. If you need to find a deal or a scam.
Yep. It may not
Coupon
be legal.
cast coming up
DM me.
soon. That's why
Help
we're
you.
We'll figure something
we're
out.
slowly introducing him to the crowd so we can get coupon cast going. So Brandon,
See.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Yeah. Buy it. Buy it twice. It's worth it.
I don't know what you're gonna do with second copy, but do it. Why not? Brandon said to do it.
Whole different room to watch it in.
Here you go.
Put them on simultaneously.
Duct tape that drawer shut. Don't ever put any other movies in there. I would say buy it. I would say buy it. It's a fun movie to watch with a group of friends if if you have a movie club or
If
anything.
you don't
like
have
that.
friends, you can watch it by yourself.
And act like you have friends and act like you're fighting for more friends. Anyways, that's our review of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Good pick. Thanks everybody for not voting for Brandon's. I did not want to watch that sad fest. So,
The only thing that you associate with Interstellar is the one little gif of McConaughey crying, and that's why you think it's such
No.
a sad movie.
It's not that.
No, that's what it is, because that is the only sad part in the movie.
Brandon cries in this movie.
You're such a generalized movie critic, Al.
I'm okay with it. So this week we're going to throw some movies out there for everybody to vote on. But before we do, Ryan, do you want to tell them how they can vote and tell us what we have to watch next week?
I'd love to, Al. Thank you for asking. The easiest thing to do would be to drop down in the comments. We will be revealing which movies we're selecting for review options for next week, but you can pick your movie and vote down there. Also on Instagram at CiNEMACHiNE we'll have a graphic up where you can let us know what your vote is on there as well. And like I said before, make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on all things CiNEMAChine.
There we go. And everybody, hit subscribe, right?
Smash
That's
it.
right, Al. Right you are. Please subscribe
Yes.
to our channel.
It's your boy. Ugh, gross. I don't know how many people are somebody's boy on YouTube. So anyway, all right. So this week we have movies to put out there. Brandon, you want to go first? What are you going to put out there for us to watch next week?
I am going to nominate 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Ah,
Talked about it a little bit earlier. I know Ryan bought it recently, and I've had it. I bought it actually a few weeks ago, and so I've been like, yeah, I need to watch this again. So I think we should review it.
okay. All right.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Chris,
Dan,
what are you going to put up there?
I will say Hunt for the Wildy People.
Oh, that's a good choice. It's a very good choice.
Dang it, Chris.
Taika Waititi. All right, and Ryan.
I'm gonna go with Brightburn. I have not seen it yet, and I want to see it.
Likewise.
Is that the Superman, evil Superman type movie or whatever?
It's kind of
Don't
an
look down your nose
oversimplification.
at me, Al.
Oh no, this is my regular face towards you. So it's like, this is my,
It's that bad, huh?
but that's what it is, right? It's the
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
and
It's a James Gunn joint. It's produced by James
yeah,
Gunn.
reduced it, right?
Directed by who cares? Next nomination.
I'm gonna put it up there, and I think I'm gonna stay on this one for a while until we watch it.
Mandy.
Nope, not Mandy. I'm gonna stay on this one for a while though.
Just kidding, Mandy.
It's not Mandy. I'm going with They Live again. I'm gonna go on this until we watch it. I want to watch They Live.
The longest fight scene ever.
It is
watch
the
it.
longest fight scene ever. It's like 7 minutes long. It's fantastic, and
And they say Man of Steel's fight scene is long.
it's a pathetic fight scene at that.
Yes, it is.
The movie's so great, and the 4K edition recently came out, so I think it's worth talking about. And it's
Does that mean we all have to buy the 4K edition if this wins?
no, luckily this movie's streaming on like 16 different platforms, so we're good to go. All right, everybody. Well, Chris is going to stick around, talk about what he's been watching. But here's the thing, everybody. We're not going to hold Chris hostage anymore. He's always welcome to come back, but he doesn't have to come back and watch another movie with us. But it's an open invitation. And Jeff, I'm going to open the invitation to you as well. I know they
Chris
don't
just
like for
starts
us to
crying.
join forces. I know they don't like for us to join forces and be a little persnickety on here, but you're always welcome. All right, everybody. We'll see you in the wrap up where Brandon gives us the movie news and we all talk about what we've been watching for the week. All right, we're back with the wrap up. We're going to talk about what we've been watching for the week, and Brandon's going to fill us in on the movie news. Brandon, take it away.
Yes. News.
Yes.
Right now. We're doing it.
I've never heard any of this.
First time.
Yeah.
All right,
Pick
we're doing it live.
17.
So, Al,
Yeah.
you like Stanley Kubrick, correct?
Before he died.
You don't like him now?
I like him.
Now he's dead.
That's just really well played.
You don't like that he's dead?
I don't like that he's dead. I don't like when anybody dies. But
This
yeah,
is weird
no, I like
news.
it.
It's really dark, Brandon.
I'm glad he's dead.
I'm glad you're dead.
Yeah,
I like him.
so
I like him a
there's
lot.
a new Kubrick film that's being filmed this year, apparently.
Posthumous.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't know who's directing it yet. Terry Gilliam was going to direct it years ago, but apparently someone else is.
That'd be good for him.
You want me to tell you what it's about?
Please do.
Actually, it's too long to read. I'm not reading it.
Figure it out on your own now.
The best news guy ever.
It's too much. We got more stuff to talk about. But Scarlett Johansson and Sam Rockwell were
Just
once
in.
attached to star in it. We always talk, we have a big thing with Sam Rockwell on this podcast. So I felt that was,
You're always welcome, Sam.
yep, anytime. But yeah, so apparently, I guess this might be one of his last, projects that could come to screen, possibly. I don't think this is going to happen, but it's in the news now, so we'll see.
Hang on. You're saying you're saying Sam Rockwell is going to be possibly going to be in the forgotten or lost Kubrick movie. That's what you're saying?
Well,
Green light. That's all
There's a
I'm
dance
saying.
scene.
That's all I'm
He
saying.
was attached to it.
Let's green
He
light
and
that
Scarlett
now.
Johansson.
And Terry Gilliam. Oh man, let's do it. Let's do it. I like it.
You missed what I said though.
I like
Once.
it. Let's go with
They were
what?
once attached.
Let's go
We're
with
like
let's
really
get 'em-
quickly going. This could be the worst news segment we've ever
Let's get them
had.
reattached. Let's get them reattached.
Okay, next thing.
Yes.
Gremlins commercial. I
Yes.
only put this on here
Gremlins.
because there was a Gremlins commercial that came out this week, and I put it on here because Al, you talk about Gremlins a lot on this podcast.
I love it.
So we sent it to you.
Yes.
You seemed to have thoughts on it, and I wanted you to be able to
I
take a moment
actually-
and speak on it.
I appreciate you sending it to me. I was actually out to eat the other night at Buffalo Wild Wings or something, and it came on. And Buffalo Wild Wings is really loud, and I was like wanting to tell everybody, "Shut up, Gremlins!" Like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a thing, and so then I tried to find it and couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found it right before you actually sent the link to me. So. Yeah, I love it. I usually don't like when they put stuff like that in commercials. But it's cute and whatnot, and I thought it was funny how they didn't make it trash. So it was fine. It was good to see old Gizmo.
Yeah, I thought it was well done. Apparently, there's a animated thing coming to HBO Max, so
Hey.
maybe you can, if you don't get that Gremlins 3 movie, maybe that'll tide you over.
I'd be fine with that. Not getting a Gremlins 3 and getting
All right, next thing. Face Off remake. Now, it was announced as a remake. Then
People got angry about this.
yeah. And then the director, who is also the director, Adam Wingard, he directed Kong Skull Island. No, Godzilla vs. Kong. He came out on his Instagram, I believe it was, and he said something to the effect of that he would never attempt to do a remake of Face Off that's going to be a direct sequel to it. So, are you any of you guys a Face Off? Y'all Face Off fans?
No.
No? That surprises me. I figured Al would be a Face Off fan.
I used to
John
follow a
Travolta-
photographer that was in his pseudonym for all of his published work was Sean Archer, which turns out this guy was from Russia and he loved the American film Face Off and took the main character's name, Sean Archer, as his photographer name. That's the only tie I have.
Weird.
Well,
That's funny.
There's a little tidbit.
That's all I
there you
got.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen it. I only brought it up because I figured this would be some
Oh, you've never
movie
seen
that
it?
Al liked.
No, I'm not a Travolta guy.
He liked Pulp Fiction.
not because of Travolta. And I wasn't like, man, Travolta's in another movie. All right.
Do you see Brandon trying to relate to you right now? His first three news items is the Stanley Kubrick movie, Gremlins, and Face Off.
Well,
He's like a cat that scratches you all day and then goes.
all right, well, here's something that he doesn't care about. Snyder Cut trailer was released this week.
Nah.
Chris,
talking about it.
you
Y'all
were
talked
able
about
to
it for
watch
an
it.
hour and
I
27
was able
minutes.
to watch it.
What did you
Can we
think
mute
about it?
now?
Ryan,
Is that
Brian and
possible?
I have talked about it extensively.
You guys
so
got an
we'll
hour
give
for me to
Chris
go
the
into this
floor.
one, right? Because I didn't get my
Yeah,
chance.
go for it. We got plenty of time.
I don't know. It didn't look that good. Same thing as the 2017 version, I thought.
Can we mute Chris too?
It's the Last of Us HBO series.
Yeah.
And those leads are Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, both of Game of Thrones fame, as is Pedro, obviously, in Mandalorian as of recent. So, Chris, you've played this game, or most of this game,
Played
half
most
of
of
this
this
game,
game.
some of this game.
I'm a slow game player. But yes, I still am a fan of the game.
But
I'm
you are at
excited.
least familiar with Ellie and Joel
Yes.
because you at least have that context. So, how do you feel about this casting?
I like both of them a lot. I just don't know that I quite see them as the characters. I don't know that Pedro's quite like gruff enough, and I don't know that what's the girl's name from Logan? Ellie.
Girl from Logan? That's not the girl that's in this.
Oh, well then I don't even know who it is.
Awkward.
Let's cut that.
Bella Ramsey is the girl that's in
This
this.
is my favorite news segment.
I don't
Bella
know if I know
Ramsey.
Bella
She played-
Ramsey.
Yeah,
She's in Game of
dude,
Thrones.
she was in Game of Thrones. She played
The Lady
Bolt.
Mormont. Yeah.
Lady Mormont. Yeah.
No, I like her a lot, but I just don't see her with kind of that quick wit,
Chris is like, they should have
sassiness.
cast the chick from Logan.
Yeah, that one doesn't matter. No, it's just Logan's on my mind because
Well,
it's
they
like the
already-
same movie, and we had kind of
Yeah,
talked about it
it's
the
a
other day,
similar
yeah.
concept as Last of Us.
But yeah, I like them both. I just don't see them as the characters.
Wolf and
but I'd
Lone
love to
Cub
be
type
proven
story.
wrong.
Pedro keeps getting himself attached to these wolf and cub type stories, doesn't he? Apparently. Anyway, I keep moving. Last thing on the list, everybody knows I've been watching Sopranos, and they had a little interview with James Gandolfini's son this week. Michael Gandolfini is his name. And just kind of talked about how he got into character to portray essentially, the most iconic role that his father had ever put to screen. And he said that he had never watched Sopranos until he got this role. And so he said it was an interesting process because he was he had to watch like this character for the mannerisms and the voice and all that kind of things that he was going to have to mimic, but also watching his father like in his prime, essentially, a side of his father, I guess, that he didn't really know at the time because he was young, and just taking him back to that, when he was a younger kid and that kind of thing. So it was an interesting little interview, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about the news. I just thought it was interesting that he had never even seen Sopranos, and it's such, that he had never went back to kind of, discover his dad's work.
They had that little blip of him in the kind of HBO Max for the year teaser trailer thing, and spitting image, like it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's done acting wise up until this point. I know he's going to be in what is the movie he's got coming out pretty soon? Had it in this article. There's one that's like coming out like in the next couple weeks. I
The
think.
Deuce, Cherry,
Mini
Ocean's
Saints?
8.
Mini
The
Saints.
Many
No,
Saints of
that's
Newark.
That's what this is. No, Cherry. Cherry is the one that he's going to be in.
Interesting. That's the Tom Holland one, right?
Yeah. With
Yeah.
Terrible graphics.
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård's in that one too.
It'll be interesting to see as far as mannerisms for Tony Soprano, like how he, sometimes they get away. Like I feel like in Solo, Aaron Reich or whatever his name is had zero mannerism. Like he had none of it down, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that they at least have like it's not like, oh well, he's younger, so he hasn't developed. I hope that it's like, yeah, this is, you can see it, because if you're gonna do this, you gotta be convincing. Obviously, he looks like him because he's his son, so you got that covered. But the mannerisms definitely, like I'm noticing, like watching it for the first time, there's a lot of like very specific Tony, like the way he's like this, like
very physical, the way he carries
that
himself.
too. But he's always got this like very like uncomfortable smirkiness to him, to me at least. Like he like kind of like does this a lot.
Whoa! I thought we had Tony Soprano in the chat for a second.
Oh my gosh, Michael Gandolfini, everybody.
He just a lot of uncomfortableness there.
It was uncomfortable for me too.
Get uncomfortable, Al.
I like being uncomfortable.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. That's the news. Let's get out of here. Bye.
Thanks, Brandon. The awkward news from Brandon. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about what we've been watching for the week, if we can get through this, for crying out loud. So, Ryan, we'll start with you. What have you been watching this week?
Well, I watched some more Sopranos, but we don't have to go into that every week. But also I watched, because Brandon ordered it, or early access purchased it on Prime. I watched that Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar movie.
Ugh. Is that a good
No.
No. What made you want to watch that? I'm not judging anything. I'm asking.
I saw the original trailer, and thought it looked terrible. And just over the last few weeks, I've seen people that I generally tend to align with on movies, just on Twitter, have said that it's like hysterical. So we actually considered renting it the night before Brandon and Melissa did, but we didn't do it. And then Brandon, obviously.
Brandon, what did you think about this movie?
I thought it was entertaining, but it's not something I'll return to. I didn't think it was that funny. I had a few chuckles in it, but like I thought that the premise, it felt like
the best character
was
the
thing.
Wayans dude.
I don't. Yeah, he was pretty funny. I don't know if. So there's not really necessarily a plot twist to this movie. It's just the premise of this movie is different than what was advertised. So if you don't want to know what that premise is, skip ahead. But it's basically kind of like an Austin Powers almost premise to me. Like it felt very 90s in plot. There's like a Dr. Evil type super villain. Kristen Wiig plays the villain, and Star or Barb, I don't know which one she is. She's one of them.
I don't either.
But yeah, so she's dual rolling it in this movie. It feels like, I don't know. I checked it out for the same reasons that Ryan. Well, he checked it out because I rented it, but
what was this? Yeah, I mean, same reason I was interested in it.
Yeah,
we had some people that
I didn't watch it.
Well, that's why I said. That's why I said that you shouldn't watch it. I said Ryan should only watch it if Katie wants to watch it. So there you go.
I appreciate the offer, though.
Yeah, the accents were.
Well, I
very
paid
thin on me.
$20. I paid $20 to rent it. So
was this
somebody
something
else?
What made you guys want? I mean, was this something
I just
that?
told you.
No, but paying $20, that's a lot to watch.
He's rich.
It was Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I wanted to rent something that my wife might like.
I'd been on talking about Snyder all day, so I was like, gotta pay attention to her. So, all right.
It's accurate.
All right. What else did you watch, Ryan?
That's it.
Okay. All right. And the Snyder trailer 476 times.
True.
Might be undershooting it, but yeah.
Yeah, I figured as much. A lot of this. Oh
Hat throwing.
my God. All right.
You know what's funny is that
Get
reaction
out of
video.
town.
That was like I was really trying to like keep it cool. Like I was like, no expletives, Ryan. Like
You were like in It's Always Sunny, where they think they're dancing awesome. And they're not dancing awesome.
Yeah.
In your head, you were like, "This is good. This is good." And then you watch the video, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Throwing your hat.
I was very aware of the fact that it was ugly, and it was much uglier.
What's
than
my
that.
shirt doing off? Oh my
I
god!
like the hat throw too. That was good.
Yeah. The teaser trailer last year, Katie can attest to this. I like got up off the couch and like jumped up and down.
Yeah, Tom Cruise on Oprah kind of moment.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's exactly what I was envisioning. All right, Chris, what have you been watching?
Last week I mentioned I had started that Love Life show on HBO Max.
How's that going?
Still going through it, just because it's easy to hit like next episode. I'm not really feeling it too much. Anna Kendrick
Did you ever
has
watch the
charm,
show?
but
Did you ever watch the show? I think it's called Love on Netflix.
Didn't catch that one.
That's a pretty
Paul
good
Rust.
show. Is it called Love? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another
Paul
one you're
Rust
talking about.
and
That's a pretty good show.
girl from Community.
I'll add that one to the queue. But Love Life,
It is
meh.
good.
I think probably skip it if you haven't already just been lazy and hit go the first time around.
Veg out show.
Little late to the depressing party, but I finally started the Epstein documentary on Netflix. Started and finished that one. If you don't know anything about any of that, go watch it and prepare yourself for some anger
Who's
and
Epstein?
being disturbed. You know, the guy who did those not nice
He
things.
was in a
Einstein?
couple movies, right? No, I was kidding. Yeah, we're gonna get flagged now. Gosh, just kidding.
Thanks, Chris.
Last week it was the big
Your
game.
dark web. You and
Yeah.
Alan need to start your dark web show.
Well,
So it does frustrate you. You said.
oh yeah, I mean, just anything that's subject matter. It's just like
Sure.
infuriating, just on so many different levels. Like what was done,
yeah.
and how it was gotten away with, and just the way people were treated, and the effects that it's had on them, and still no real resolution. So it's very informative, and it's one of those things like it's uncomfortable, but you probably should watch it and inform yourself. Man, it's a doozy. But then the lighter side of things, I went and I watched the Justice League Unlimited episode for the first time in years.
Nice.
That was my
Like
viewing of the week.
What is
the
that?
old episodes or new ones.
Old episode.
I don't know
Nice.
what that is.
It's just cartoons about Justice League.
Oh, it's cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Great
noticed.
show.
I did notice that HBO Max has a ton of that stuff in there. Did you watch it on HBO Max?
Yes, I did.
Do you have
Taking
any other streaming
advantage of
services?
My brother's
There's
login.
really no need for any other streaming services. That one's
Yeah, and if you're listening, go ahead, subscribe to HBO Max. Once you go on over to Zack Snyder's Justice League, go ahead and favorite that for us.
Hit that little.
Make sure
plus
you
sign.
hit that bell, subscribe to Justice League.
It's enough. Enough.
Don't worry about this show. Go subscribe.
Brandon, what else did you watch besides Barbara?
Well, Al, let me
Wells.
tell you, I watched Man of Steel.
This just keeps getting worse. This deal's getting worse all the
I
time.
had my friend Donald over Friday night,
Yeah.
and he
Now, Donald's a
myself,
hoot.
Man, the myth, the legend.
yeah,
Donald is
he
a
wanted to
hoot.
come over and watch a movie, and Luna, I'd showed her the trailer of Man of Steel because I'd kind of considered letting her see that at least. I don't know where I'm gonna show her.
To live in
videos
this
yet.
house, you need to watch this, is what Brandon said.
Yep. So yeah,
Daddy, I
Wanna
didn't
be
like it.
homeless, do you, Luna?
Get out.
But yeah, we watched Man of Steel, and I mean, obviously, I love this movie. I actually haven't watched this movie since we moved and built the theater, so this
Did
was
she
the first
enjoy
time
it?
I'd been able to watch it. Oh yeah, she really liked it. Yeah, so watch that. Obviously, I love it. We'll probably Ryan and I will probably do a recap of Man of Steel on Capecast. So I won't go too in depth on that one. But yeah, we already talked about Barb and Star. And Melissa and I watched the Framing Britney Spears little mini doc that New York
I
Times
heard
put
that's
out.
so depressing.
I watched. I've been watching a lot of old late night TV and whatnot, and I saw the I heard it was brought back up, but the monologue about Britney Spears, how it was like a serious monologue on a late night show, and anyway, it was real heartfelt and whatnot when she was going
Craig
through
Ferguson one.
Yeah, Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
That guy might have been the best late night host ever.
He
That guy's
hands down
hilarious. He's freaking
awesome.
hilarious. If you get
That
a
was, like,
chance,
the only guy I
go
used
watch
to
Sid the Cursing Bunny. That's hilarious. Watch that for an hour and a half. So anyway, all right. So that's all you watched?
Yeah, I mean, and if anybody's interested, it's on Hulu. It's worth a watch. It's really good. And hashtag free Britney. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. Free Britney.
Yeah. Free Britney. All right. Well, I watched a couple movies actually, and I won't get into this too much, but I rewatched Tenet with a friend of mine that had never seen it before, and they knew nothing about Tenet. They didn't know it was a thing. They had never seen a trailer. They didn't know who was in it. They didn't know what it was about. Nothing. So I watched it, and I tried to watch it through their, like, kind of watch it through their eyes for the first time, kind of, what'd you think, and so on and so forth. And I have to admit, I found myself pretty bored the second go around. I was just kind of like, meh, all right. So no need to get into it. No, I'm not saying it's a horrible movie or anything. I don't know if it wasn't in the mood to watch it or what, but I just really, I don't know. I just didn't have fun watching it. I was just like, all right, whatever.
Subtitles?
It's gotten too popular.
Yeah.
No, that's not it at all, Brandon. I know you think that, but that's not it. And actually, that movie's not that popular. So, no, I didn't watch it with subtitles. I can understand the folks. So, then I watched a old Arnold movie called Raw Deal. Have you guys ever seen Raw Deal?
I don't think I've seen this
Chris?
one. I like me some Arnold, but I don't know that I've seen this one.
This movie's pretty bad.
Nice.
This movie's pretty bad.
Nice.
I mean, there are parts in this movie you're like, oh, that's what Arnold would be without charisma, And this happened after Terminator, after Commando, after some of the bigger movies. So I'm guessing it was just poor direction. I don't know, but it was just, it's still Arnold. It's still Arnold. But he's like a sheriff in the sleepy town. He's kind of exiled there, trying to hide out with his wife and whatnot. And then one day, I think he's like supposed to be in the FBI or something like that. But anyway, they come and they find him, like, we need you on a case. And so he just goes and blows up his car and acts like he's dead. And he's like, I'm back on the beat. And he's supposed to be this small town sheriff, but he still has that thick accent. It's like,
They made, what was that movie that he did with Knoxville?
Oh yeah.
Right after his term as governor.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it. I know what you're talking about.
It's the same kind of thing. He's like living out in like some
So
Midwest town.
this movie was
State,
pretty hard to
Washington.
get through. I love bad, cheesy 80s, 90s action movies, but this one's not even good bad. It's just bad. So, if you're an Arnold fan, I think it's worth a watch. I think it's worth knowing how good Arnold really is when he's up to his good, when he has good direction, I guess I should say. But it looked like he was kind of mailing this one in a little bit here and there. But the story was all over the place. They just kind of pop up at a different scene. I won't give any of the story away. They just pop up at a different scene, and it's like, oh, we're there now. Like one piece is he's going to he's undercover as he's supposed to be undercover as like a mobster, like an Italian mobster. Again, the accent. So and he's kind of like the right hand man of the main guy, and he's going to this cemetery, and he's dating this woman while he's undercover, but he refuses to kiss her or anything like that because he loves his wife, which that's respectful. So anyway, he says, "Take my car and go over here," and she leaves, goes somewhere else. They leave the hotel or wherever they were and go to this cemetery that is nowhere near this hotel or wherever they were. And he gets in trouble, and all of a sudden she shows up like just to pick him up. Like I'm here to save you. Doesn't show her like following them or anything. Last thing you know, she was going home. So just little pieces like that. It was just kind of disjointed. So I watched that. Then I watched a movie that I know Brandon and I have been wanting to see for some time now, just never got around to it. I'm sure that you guys have been wanting to see this as well. You Were Never Really Here. I watched that with Joaquin Phoenix. Has anybody seen this movie?
Haven't caught
I
that
have
one.
not yet, no.
Okay, I'm gonna tread. Do you know what it is, Chris or Ryan?
I don't think I know much about this.
So basically, it's the trafficking, the human trafficking. Joaquin Phoenix is a hired person to go in and basically save children, and the whole trailer is he just has a hammer and goes ham on people, and it's pretty brutal. In the trailer, they kind of make this feel like it's going to be like this. I don't want to say high octane, but they kind of make it feel like it's going to have a lot more energy to it. It's going to kind of like he's just going to be busting heads with hammers the whole movie. It is not that. So if you're expecting that, I would say still watch this movie because this movie is really good. It's really well made. Acting is superb, which you would expect nothing less from Joaquin. It's heart-wrenching. The little girl in this movie is very, very good. I'm not familiar with her. I don't want to give anything away because I do want you guys to watch this movie, and I might just suggest that we watch it in the future after we watch They Live. But I think that this movie is not for everyone, but I think it is a good watch for folks that say they love movies. It's a tough one to get through because of the subject matter and because of the brutality. So do understand that, you're going to go into, it's not a happy story is what I'm getting at. So if you have a hard time getting through those types of things.
Definitely didn't seem that way from the trailer. So
yeah. So, but it is a slower movie.
What is it on Prime? Is that what
yeah, I think it's an original of Prime. But it's a good movie. It's a really good movie, and I really do think everybody on this panel right here would love it. Chris, I say that I don't know if you would love it, but I know the other two guys.
I'll check it out after
sure.
Raw Deal. I'll add it to the list. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Al brings the heat. So, and I watched this other movie. It's a movie that I don't know that you guys know about. But I got a little surprise for you. You guys kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm not going to talk about this movie here. This movie's called To Tokyo. Okay? But I'm actually bringing the director in to...
Is that T-O?
T-O.
T-W-O or T-O-O?
T-O, like I'm going to Tokyo. Like to Tokyo. We go. To Tokyo. And I'm actually going to be talking to Casper Seal Jones. That's the name of the director. I guess if you want to learn more about this movie and learn more about Casper and his filmmaking and whatnot, you'll have to tune in. That interview will probably be up later this week, if not early next week. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk to him. And I've already watched the movie, so you guys can go there to see what I think about it. And
is this movie available?
So this movie is available on all your streaming, like Vudu, Apple TV, and all that. So
VOD.
VOD, yes. But I bought it through Apple TV Plus or whatever, or Apple TV or whatever. However
We'll
they
put Al's login credentials down below in the comments.
Yeah. So anyway, no, everybody go out there and check it out. It's only like an hour and 15, 20 minutes long. So it's not a long watch. So check it out. Check out the interview. Pretty excited. We're starting to get folks on the channel. So Only reason I'm doing it is because he's in London and Brandon can't understand what he says. So, so
It's accurate.
we're excited. So yeah, look forward to that. So, all right, everybody, that's what we've been watching. We've watched a lot. I've watched more movies this week than I have in a long time, so I'm pretty excited. I took a break from Twin Peaks for about 2 days. So, all right, everybody. Anybody got anything to add? No?
Don't think so.
We're all happy. Everybody's happy. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching CiNEMAChiNE. We will see you all on the next CiNEMAChiNE. So all of you keep watching movies. Make sure you hit subscribe and tune in for all of the Snyder news from these fellers, and also for the Casper Seal Jones interview we have coming up. So we'll talk to you soon. See you on the next CiNEMAChiNE, everybody.
Hey.